That's your Active Directory, okay, with ADFS, right? And the force.com is the service provider. Okay, it's also called a relying party because they rely on the fact that somebody else has checked you in. So you have someone like A, somebody from A going straight to force.com trying to log in. Okay, but because there is already a trust relationship between force.com and the Active Directory FS ADFS, force.com is going to send a SAML request to the identity provider of A. The SAML assertion has to come back from the identity provider, and the SAML assertion has to say that person is already logged in. See this? So there is a request if somebody tries to go straight. Okay, and this is what happens. And let's say the person hasn't logged in. Okay, so if the person hasn't logged in, there's not going to be SAML assertion going back. So the person has to log into the AD Active Directory before SAML assertion could be sent to force.com. Hence, you cannot log in to force.com if you're not logged into that Active Directory. Does that address what you were just talking about? Yes. DFS is identity provider. SAML assertions are passed between force.com and identity. Yes, but only force.com knows which identity provider. Right. The configuration is that. Yes. So when someone tries to log in as A, it goes into A because there is a configuration. And if there indeed, Christopher, if there is a mistake on the back end, it could try to bring you to the somebody else's ADFS, but hopefully you won't be able to log in. So if a force.com intern messes up on onboarding company A, wouldn't it find? Yeah. So but let's take a look at it, right? So let's say the person A, okay, tries to log in, so it goes to force.com, right? And somebody really messes up, and the ADFS thing, and so you have the company A and company B, two identity providers, company A and company B, okay? And the person that's trying to log in is company A, right? So then instead of going to company A's identity provider, ADFS, it goes to company B's ADFS. Well, company B's ADFS says, look, this person, I don't know who you're talking about. This person hasn't logged in. In fact, this person may not even be on my database. You see? Yeah? What about the scenario where company A's employee is redirected to company A's AD server, but it takes to company B's force account and vice versa? Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so that would be a misconfiguration indeed. And in fact, misconfigurations are one of the top flaws that we have in systems. Yeah, weakness. Yeah, it could. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah. Because you're right? They don't have to log in to SFDC. Yeah, they don't have to log in physically. Thanks, Terry. Oh, but getting that error message really, brings up the point. So if I put that in there, it works, huh? Oh my goodness. All right, that sounds good. Yeah, I think I will do that. Yeah. So yeah, Christopher, that's a very good point. So yes, misconfiguration can lead to all sorts of problems, right? And take a look at the scenario B, okay, which is on the right, okay, where the company A person logs into the company A's Active Directory /ADFS, and the SAML assertion is sent to force.com, and then this person can now, without putting in username and password into force.com, sign in to salesforce.com. And the information that is passed between the identity provider and the service provider is the assertion information in the format of SAML. Okay? All right? Very good. Very interesting. I like thinking about those little puzzle things. That's good. Okay. But notice here, right? So here's the question. There it is. Okay? This example. Is this single sign-on? What do you think? Is this single sign-on? Yes, that's right. What do you think? Yes, exactly. This is single sign-on. Is this federation? Yes, it is. Why is it, Christopher? Why is this federation? The identity provider force is federated by your ADF. That's right, exactly. So there's a separation that says, look, I'm okay if you're okay, right? So the service provider is saying, look, identity provider, if you're okay with tyranny, I'm okay with tyranny, right? So that's basically what you're saying. Same thing with the PKI too, right? So they're saying, look, Army person, if my CS is okay, you're okay, right? So it is federation, yep, and it is single sign-on. Very good, very good, very good. So OIUA, this is one example in your book. Once in unlimited access. User authenticates once and then has access to all the resources. It says not a pure single sign-on. Well, to have a pure single sign-on, the resources, you are logging in per se. It's just that you are relying on one identity provider, and you're saying if you are logged into the identity provider, and if we have the trust relationship, and then you can go ahead and access my services. That's basically what we're saying with single sign-on. But with once in unlimited access, it doesn't sound like you have any other type of authentication going on inside whatever the realm that you are in that you can do this in. That's why it's not a pure single sign-on. All right. Multi-factor. All right, so we talked about multi-factor, type 1, type 2, type 3. Your book has extensive writing on the multi-factor, so please go ahead and check it out. Okay, so I think we're just going to skip this because we talked about it. Token, something that you have. Evidence of identity, of course. Well, when you do authentication, it's all evidence of your identity. So use to authenticate your system. You could have software or hardware tokens. These days I've been using Google Authenticator. It's pretty nice. It's a software authenticator. Contains a secret usually. So you have a secret, they have a secret, and you're supposed to somehow end up with the same secret. Okay. And token input data. Sometimes you have to input the data from the token into the system. Maybe require for a token authenticator. So yes, I do have to log into my iPhone before I can get into the token authenticator. Yeah. Types of tokens, soft token, hard tokens. Your book does go into detail on these about the type of secrets and how they work. So something like an out-of-band token would be somebody calling you or sending you an SMS message. So that would be an out-of-bound. One-time password devices, right? RSAs, is secure ID. That will be a device. Cryptographic devices. So please look up in the book on that. Okay. I do have a secure ID example. So the little gadget that you have that looks like a key on the left-hand side is synchronized with the server on the back, the RSA authentication server on the back. And you have the same seed, and the time is supposed to be the same time. And there's an algorithm that they use, same algorithm. So every minute, right, every 60 seconds, the number updates, and then you stick that number in, and then it's supposed to end up with the same, same number on the server side. So that will be the secure ID. The biometrics, something that you are, right? So here's a little thing on the secure biometrics. So the horizontal diagram, horizontal axis is a percentage, whatever it is that we're going to be talking about. And then as you go to the right, the sensitivity increases, okay, on the actual device, the biometric device. So just imagine my iPhone, okay, with a little thumb, right, biometrics. So if somebody picks up my phone and sticks their thumb on it and the phone opens, right, there's a problem, right? So this is the false acceptance rate. So if the sensitivity to the device is so insensitive that it lets other people in, that's what it means. So as you go more insensitive to the left, the chances, the percentage of false acceptance will go up. Okay, but as you try to tune the thing in, I don't know. Sometimes, some mornings, I put my thumb in there and phone doesn't open. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not putting my thumb just right way, or maybe I have something on my thumb or something. Whatever it is, it's not letting me in because even though it's my phone. Okay, so that would be false rejection rate. So as the sensitivity goes up, the false rejection rate goes up. Okay, and where they cross, false acceptance rate and false rejection rate, where they cross, where they're the same, is called the crossover error rate. Crossover error rate. And some devices are tuned that way. You could probably change the tuning on some, and some come in tuned in a specific way. If you're comparing, with the same money, how much which device you want to buy, if you have access to this type of curve for your device, you may be able to say, hey, for the same money, this one's more sensitive, this one is more, less sensitive, right? This one's, better for, better bang for the bucks, whatever. You may be able to do decisions based on that. So there you go. That is the biometrics. So biometrics. These are all the types that are in your book. Fingerprint, hand geometry. Hand geometry is the measurement between the knuckles and your hand. I mean, there are all different places that they measure. I guess your hand has to be it's all grown up and it's not going to change anymore before you take this thing, right? Voice recognition, iris patterns. So iris would be the colored portion of your eye, and the vascular patterns are the same. Retina scan is the back side of your eye, and look at the vascular patterns on the retina. Signature dynamics, vascular patterns. By the way, when you go take the exam, the IC square exam, they'll take a vascular pattern. Most likely, they'll take a vascular pattern of your hand, from your hand, and they'll record it. So when you go, and that's when you register. And when you go into the the cubicle to take the exam, they'll take the vascular pattern before you go in, and when you come out of the cube, they'll take the vascular pattern after you come out, just to make sure that it's you that went in and that came out. Anyway, I thought that was really, really funny. That I had to take 3 times. But anyway, keystroke dynamics. Okay, so in the book, they tell you which one they think is the most accurate. Okay, which one do you think is most accurate? Form of biometrics. Which one? No idea? Nah. Anybody else? Okay, Christopher, you'll be right. Yeah, they actually take 2. They said the iris and retina are the most accurate ones. They talked about which one is not, but retina, Christopher, actually has a privacy issue associated with it. Did you know what that is? Why would taking a retina scan be a privacy issue? You think that everything's a privacy issue, right? Exactly, Terry. Tell us why it has something to do with the healthcare information. What is it about retina and health? It is protected by HIPAA. It is addressed by HIPAA. Yeah, but why? Why is it? Wait a minute, that's interesting. Glaucoma. I don't think you can see glaucoma from the retina. I think you notice the cataracts, but it's not on the retina. Don't think anyway. Okay, you guys are kind of talking around the subject, okay? So retina, I know, Terry. Right, but if you say that everything is PII when it comes to biometrics, it's because every one of these data is supposed to uniquely identify you, right? But the question is, what is it about that? What is it about retina that has anything to do with health? Well, here's the answer. But you guys are right though. But the thing is, here's the answer to that one. Retina. If you look at the retina, you can tell if the person has like diabetes, if you are pregnant, if you have any other types of health thing going on with you. It shows up in your retina. Yeah, did you know that? So I had my eye doctor, ask me if I want to take a retina, photo. I said, what for? He said, well, next time you come in, we could compare and see what's changed, and what changed would be your health status. That's what he told me. Yeah. So that's why it's a healthcare thing, right? Ah, let's see, retina, diabetes. Sorry. God, it doesn't say. But sorry, but it is in the book. I was trying to see if there was a site that actually had all the stuff that you could tell from your retina. But anyway, so that is the healthcare issue. Yeah, Dave. Did you find it? Dave, were you going to add something? No? All right, I'm going to move forward now. Okay. So accountability, that's the reason why, right? We have strong identification authentication because we need to have accountability. If something happens, we want to know who done it, for what reason. Okay? So there you go. All right. Integrate identity as a service. IDaaS. So this is a cloud service. Christopher, is this the one you're talking about? When you say it's easier now because you do a cloud? Are you using IDaaS? Ah, right. Right. Okay. I wonder. Looks like it. Oh, look. IDOS. Right? Okay, so there you go. So there it is, IDOS. So identity as a service provider, such as Bing, okay, will handle biometrics, passwords, pins, whatever, right? And so whatever the identity that you want to use, whatever factors you want to use, it will handle it. It will access the internal system, external systems, right? They integrate both, so they're very nice. Private cloud access, public cloud access, what have you. Okay, so it's truly a cloud, isn't it? So that is, any device, anytime, anywhere, into accessing into any other system. So, of course, the question I asked Christopher earlier was, do you trust this thing? Because look, you have this identity, which is a key part of security out there in the cloud. Right? So I think the provider and provider's track record has a lot to do about it. Okay, whether you trust it or not. Okay. So there you go. And so I took this thing out. It's IDOS. This is my wish list of IDOS. Yeah, Christopher. Oh, I see. That accepts the identity? All the assertions are ultimately signed in-house. Doesn't mean the application provider won't accept it. Oh, right. Okay, got it. Right. So the application, the service provider, isn't as secure, or they're pretty wide open, is what you say. More than what you want them to be. Yeah. Right. Sure. There you go. That's it. So it's buyer beware, basically. Yeah, you're right. So with IDOS, though, what this thing will look like, it's a cloud, right? So at the IT platform level, hey, it's a place that you don't get to see. Okay. So they have all the hardware, networking, all that stuff. But SaaS, PaaS, whatever you use, you don't get to see that. And the interface on the top, right, consumable identity service, these are how you interface into it. So it depends upon what you use, but the middle, right? So the identity management stack is basically what we're looking for, and the idea is, wouldn't it be nice if it does all these things? So it will say, wouldn't it be nice if you have something like a directory service, right? So that we can actually update them, and it is a directory provisioning engine that you can go directly, straight into the IDOS and just enter people. How about the workflow and orchestration, so that we can have a smooth, right, account management, right? We have that profile management, all those things. Identity and role administration, boy, right inside the IDOS would be very nice. How about identity verification? Remember the VA portion of it, or actually the RA portion of the the certificate? Somebody making sure that you are who you say you are. Wouldn't it be great if you do that as well? How about authorization and authentication, as of course? How about federation? You could do federation with it. That would be fantastic. And monitoring as well for security purposes and for auditing purposes. So these are a lot of the things that you can think of when you think about IDOS. Okay, so it's a maturing field, right? It's a maturing area, especially security as a service, and IDOS is a part of security. Is still growing, and it's a kind of like a leading bleeding edge type of stuff, because you are trusting the cloud when we're saying, well, are you sure the cloud can be trusted? So see, that's still haven't really been proven when it comes to security. So there you go. So the next part is integrate third-party identity services. Now it's not IDOS, but it is third-party identity services, integrating it with your current services. Okay, and so for example, something like Azure Active Directory. right? So Azure Cloud Identity provided by Microsoft. It will do directory synchronization, and yes, it will do federated identity. Okay. So I grabbed this from Azure site. So right in the middle, you have the cloud, that is the Azure. And then you have the Active Directory, which is the Azure Active Directory. And notice on the left-hand side, you have the Windows Server Active Directory. So that is your local Active Directory. And it synchronizes. Okay? And notice, though, you have all the consumer identity providers. You have the PCs and desktops all signing in to Windows Azure AD. Okay? And notice how Windows Azure AD is now accessing stuff from Microsoft, all the Office 365 and all that, and of course all the other non-MS cloud-based apps as well. Okay, so it's doing the accessing for that. So that would be the directory synchronization. It will be the integration of your internal systems. Now, it does not say that it will access the internal applications, right? So internal applications. PCs and desktops can go into Azure, but the Azure is not accessing anything internal. So internal systems will still be under the auspice of the Windows Server Active Directory for your local implementation. Okay, that's what it looks like. Okay. Does anybody use this? No, you don't use it? No, huh? Okay. Got it. I guess that's that then. All right, federated identity. So we did talk about it. Claim-based. Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So are you using, like Google Apps? Is that what you're using, Terry? Okay. Okay, but not the faculty. Okay, still not. Yeah. What's interesting is the DoD, Department of Defense, has, of course, the uniform folks, in the services, and then you have the civilian people, and they've moved all the civilian folks into Gmail. I thought that was really wild. But they're civilians, so, but even civilians still talk, classified stuff, and I'm sure if they're for the classified stuff, I'm sure they're not supposed to use Google. I hope, right? So this federated identity, so we've already talked about this. This is the ADFS, and SAML, right? So I'm going to skip through this. Okay, so implement and manage the authorization mechanism. So now we've been talking mostly about authentication, right? So now we're going to move into the authorization, okay, authorization. So in the authorization space, we're looking at something like RBAC, role-based access control. And let me just go in and kind of give you the my whiteboard version of this. Save this thing. Okay, so it used to be, right, we had RBACs and all that stuff, and even now, let's say you have, oh, sorry. What happened? All right, so let's say we have a object that you want to access, and the object used to have like rules that says, look, person A can do read write, person B can read write and execute, okay, and then you have person A and person B, right, given these rights, okay. It's okay when you only have like 10 people, but if you start having hundreds of people, this is like, this can't be done. It cannot be done. So now, so these are subjects, obviously. So then you say, okay, let's move the object out. Let's create something called groups. Okay, and you have roles like admin and maybe user, and they will have, this says admins, read write and execute, users, read, okay, and then you have people belonging to these groups, and then access the object, right? So you have this buffer, which are groups. Okay? So that's basically RBAC, isn't it? Role-based access control. Okay? And that was to kind of get over the problem that we had where we didn't have roles. But there are a couple of issues here. First of all, you can't see, the object is only seeing groups, right? Like roles. They don't actually see the end user. Okay, and so that could be one. There's no really transparency there. And also, if we to go back to the presentation material, okay, so that's basically what that is, right? So you have the asset, which is this object. You have rules, and within rules you have roles, and within roles in the center you have users belonging to these roles. Okay, and I'm not sure about how you feel about RBAC, but there's been proliferation of roles, and you'll see pretty soon RBAC still has its issues. And so for example, let's say you settle down to several roles that works for you, and then all of a sudden you get a brand new system in, and the existing roles don't quite fit. You go, this one kind of needs to be a little tweaked a little bit here, and then you start adding roles, and then before you know it, you got a whole bunch of roles in there that it's really hard to manage. So some companies are looking at RBAC and say, I don't think RBAC is a good solution. And they're using something called the ABACs. Okay, notice how now the buffer is gone once again. Okay, but when you see the object, they have rules, but it's not a person and it's not a role. It's attributes, right? Attributes. So users have attributes, like maybe the users will be admin, maybe user, maybe IT. So the combination of these attributes form the basis for rules for accessing the asset itself or the object itself. So not sure, this is still, I think, still new relative to RBAC. I think, but I have heard other companies trying to move out of RBAC into ABAC. But the ABAC is not in your book for some reason. I mean, although people are talking about it, it's not in the CISSP book. Okay. So then let's go back to RBAC then, because they do go, pretty extensively into the RBAC. And the very first thing they have is non-RBAC. I'm not sure why they put that in the RBAC, because it's a non-RBAC, right? So it is a traditional mapping of the ACL, access control lists. Okay. The second one is limited RBAC. So limited RBAC means that the RBAC that you have is only good for that application. It's not good anywhere else, right? You have an application, it's only good for that. The hybrid RBAC then is you have the application roles, right? That's only good for the application, and then you also have like the enterprise roles that are good for within the organization. Like maybe they're departmental roles, like your IT, your finance, your HR, and then when you go into the HR, application, maybe you have a special, application admin role or something. Okay, so that would be a hybrid role. And then the full RBAC then is you get rid of the application roles. Everything is role within the organization. So see, when you try to do that, if the company says, look, we're going to do full RBAC, no special exceptions on any applications, then man, that means you have to create organization roles that are good for those applications, right? So that's when you start getting these, proliferation of roles all over the place. I think that this probably is the root of the problem. Anyway, so it is RBAC. Okay? Be careful. RBAC also stands for rule-based access control, and also role-based access control. So chances are they're not going to abbreviate, but make sure you read the questions so you don't misread it. Where it says rule, don't read it to say role. Okay. The authorization, the other types, I've already talked about DAC, which is discretionary access control. But basically with discretionary access control is user-centric. So it's almost like the Unix systems where you, as a user, creates a file, and you get to decide who gets to access that file in what way, because you're the owner. So that would be a DAC. With a MAC, which is a mandatory access control, which I coined the military model, is, look, the document has a label, security label. It says top secret. Okay, and the subject that you're accessing, you have to, right? We have to follow the Bell-LaPadula model, basically, on that. Okay, so that would be a MAC. Okay. All right, so that's good. That's the last part of it. Prevent or mitigate access control attacks. Now, this one, the book actually has a lot of things about it, but you have access control, like the authentication authorization. Okay, and remember yesterday we talked about the race condition versus the time of check, time of use, right? And one of the example of the race condition was that, look, you have two processes doing, one is doing the authentication, the other one's doing authorization. What if you could bring the authorization first before you could do the authentication, right? So that was a race condition example. In that case, you're bypassing it, aren't you? You're bypassing the access control. So bypassing or circumvent access control, access aggregation. So that is, you have, you used to work for IT, now you move to HR. Well, they haven't fulfilled your, position yet, so they keep your IT privileges because sometimes they want to ask you to do some IT stuff. And on top of that, you have HR access, HR privileges, because now you're in HR. Or you aggregate those two, and now you got way too much access, right? So that would be the access aggregation. Okay? Now, they do have a lot of mitigation steps. I'm not going to go over each one of those, because it's just a big old long list. Okay? Take a look at it. Okay? Let's take a moment to kind of look at this, these steps. And let me know if you have any strong, any questions. It doesn't have a strong question. Any questions about it? Right? Sounds pretty commonsensical. Okay, I hope. Okay, any questions on this? All right, good to go. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Manage the identity and access provisioning lifecycle. This is pretty short. This is only one here. So the provisioning lifecycle that they have on CISSP are three: provisioning, review, and revocation. Okay. So, provisioning is, look, you have to give the appropriate access rights to people. And it's easier said than done, right? For example, let's take that earlier case where you used to be IT, now you're HR, right? The person who's giving you HR privileges, they may not know that you still have IT privileges. That means they may not know exactly in totality what kind of access you have. They may or they may not. Okay. Access aggregation is an issue. Least privilege is also an issue. Okay. Review, monitor based on risk. So you're not going to be reviewing every little thing for a user maybe, but you will be monitoring every little thing for admin. Example, right? Revocation, permanent or temporary. So if the person is separated permanently, then it's a permanent revocation. If the person is on, let's say sabbatical, it's a temporary revocation, but it's still a revocation. So the people, that person who's on sabbatical cannot, log into the system when they're not working for you, temporarily. Okay, so that is that. Let's see. And that is all I have for you for the identity management. Okay, and just like yesterday, we have 20 minutes left, but we still have 3 more, technically 4, but mainly 3 more, and I can finish it. We can finish it together tomorrow. So would it be okay if we take off 20 minutes early? Call it a day? You have no issues? No problems. Okay. Sounds good to you? All right, good to go. Yeah, Lisa, get the electrical thing fixed, right? Sounds good. Okay, hey, thank you very much for your attention once again. Yeah, and I will see you tomorrow. It's the last day, so hey, let's have the best of that. And please have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.